This is where Donald Trump is choosing to hold his rallies.
Donald Trump has been caught. People noticed a concerning pattern with the locations of his rallies over the past few months, past few years, and I really want to get your guys' opinion on this whole controversy. I'm going to spend this video laying out all of the facts, laying the groundwork, and at the end, you guys tell me what you think. What is Donald Trump doing here? I don't want to waste any of your time. Make sure you leave a like on this video below, and make sure you're subscribed to the Mockler YouTube channel. People think they are, but sometimes they aren't. So it started with this article titled, "Donald Trump faces backlash over rally locations. People claim they are sundown towns." And this article describes how Donald Trump has been placing his rallies in very convenient towns over the past few months, and these towns can be safely described as sundown towns. And this comes at a time when Donald Trump has been saying questionable things about GOP Black MAGA surrogates. He said the other day at a rally, he pointed at GOP Representative Byron Donalds, and he said, "That one is smart. You have smart ones, and then you have some that aren't quite so good." And some people were saying, "Adam, what is the problem there?" And I'm just going to say, this is not the in-your-face, obvious type of racism that Donald Trump has done in the past, like when he says that VP Harris just recently turned black, but you don't need to have a KKK hood and a torch to be racist. You can say it in very, very subtle ways, and Donald Trump says something that reminds me of an older coworker saying something that reveals your sentiment, or a younger coworker. People are racist across all age groups, and people harbor these sentiments and let them out in very subtle ways. Just listen.
Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones, and you have some that aren't quite so good.
So he just pointed out Byron Donalds, a black GOP representative in the crowd, who has also said questionable things in the past, and said, that one is smart. You have some that aren't good, or some that are smart, and some that aren't quite so good. And it's basically like him saying that Byron is one of the good ones, if you guys have heard the one of the good ones quote before. But this article continues. Former President Donald Trump is facing backlash for holding rallies in places described as, quote, sundown towns. Internet users pointed out a troubling pattern in the location of Trump's recent rallies in a video that has gone viral on social media. It was shared on X, TikTok, where it amassed millions of views. Quote, Howell, Michigan, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, the man said in the video. What do these places have in common? They're all sundown towns. And I'll play the video in 1 second, but this is poignant. He added, quote, this is where Donald Trump is choosing to hold his rallies. You got a presidential candidate for the GOP doing a sundown town tour across the country, not looking for political gain. He's effing rallying the troops. And if you don't know, the term sundown towns dates back to the segregation era, referring to communities with wholly white population where black people were considered unsafe after nightfall. Black people were prevented from living in those communities through discriminatory policies or intimidation or violence, and today many of those communities with racist histories remain predominantly white. I mean, we still see the effects of these laws not long later. Let's watch this TikTok video of this man pointing this out.
So I've been noticing a troubling pattern where Donald Trump has been holding his rallies. The last few weeks has been egregious. Howell, Michigan, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. What do these places have in common? They're all sundown towns. This is where Donald Trump is choosing to hold his rallies. Sundown towns. They want to go back to fucking Dred Scott. Make America great again. When was America ever great? You got a presidential candidate for the GOP doing a sundown town tour around the country, not looking for political gain. He's fucking rallying the troops. These crybaby bitches want nothing but a civil war again. Make no mistake about it, folks.
This guy makes some really good points, especially when he talks about Dred Scott, which was a famous ruling which only reinforced that black Americans were property, or black Americans didn't actually have citizenship. A disgusting ruling that thankfully is far in the past, and we're working towards equality in this country. Vote Kamala Harris if you want equality. VP Harris gave a speech today where she talks about her plans for healthcare, for infrastructure, and I think it's really important to boost her speeches because the dichotomy between the MAGA world and VP Harris couldn't be stronger.
We fight for a future where no person has to go broke just because they got sick. And so when I am president, we will continue to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. We will bring down the cost of prescription drugs, not only for some, but for all Americans. We fight for a future where every worker has the freedom to organize.
Yep. Again, this comes in stark contrast to the rhetoric that Donald Trump uses around workers and unions. JD Vance likes to placate on Twitter by saying, oh, happy Labor Day in America, we love workers, but then Donald Trump talks to Elon Musk and he's like, nobody union busts like you. You're the best union buster. On social media, many shared their belief that the locations of Trump's recent rallies could not be a coincidence. Trump's campaign, quote, is intentionally visiting sundown towns, which violated federal law to be whites only. Journalist Jim Stewartson wrote on X, and he heavily thinks so. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you've made it this far in the video, is this true? And are we being uncharitable to Donald Trump? I really can't decide if this is a coincidence, if there are no coincidences. Quote, this isn't a dog whistle. It's a KKK hood over every single person who supports Donald Trump, says Jim Stewartson. I don't know if I would take it that far, but he says he is absolutely correct. Donald Trump's campaign is intentionally violating this law. The Mockler she wrote on X wrote, quote, it's not a coincidence that Trump keeps hosting rallies in sundown towns. Don't forget he intentionally held a rally in Tulsa on the anniversary of the massacre. So the Mockler she wrote disagrees with me. He thinks heavily it's not a coincidence. Joyce Vance, a former U.S. attorney in Alabama, noted that Trump also held a rally in a sundown town in Alabama in 2021. Quote, interesting notice recently that Trump is holding his rallies in sundown towns. This caught my interest when he chose Cullman, Alabama, my mother-in-law's hometown, as one of his 2021 stops for his campaign. Now, the more I'm reading, I'm becoming increasingly convinced. So Donald Trump just happened to hold a rally in Cullman, Alabama, and then happened to hold a rally in another sundown town right after. That's a lot of coincidences. Quote, a sundown town is one that forbade blacks by ordinance or otherwise to live in it. Many of these places, including Cullman, posted signs of the effect whites only within city limits after dark, sometimes with far less sanitized language. She added, quote, could it be coincidence that it is bringing Trump to these places? Anything is possible, but Cullman, for instance, is out of the way. Any number of places in Alabama would have been more suitable. Sometimes a dog whistle is actually loudly spoken. So again, this person thinks very strongly that Donald Trump is doing that. Do you guys think it's a coincidence? Let me know. An ex-user wrote in response that VP Harris, the Democratic nominee, quote, is doing a freedom bus tour with 50 stops focusing on reproductive freedom, while Trump is going to sundown towns to rally the white supremacist vote. They added, see the difference? Kamala looks to the future and restoring rights. Trump looks to the past and Jim Crow. And I think we proved that with the short clip we played of Kamala Harris talking about the rights that she wants to restore across America when it comes to healthcare. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment a blue heart, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.